Hey everybody, welcome back to the Warrior channel. This is Sean. I'm here joined by Chris again. We've been sitting here talking about our upcoming campaign that we're he's putting together some rules for. So we're gonna, that's exciting, but we're not gonna be doing that today. We're gonna be doing Italian versus Bulgarian rematch. And I'm going to actually just put this video, I lost that last battle report, unfortunately. So I'm gonna be recording it on this device and I'm gonna do a live stream on my phone. I'm going to go ahead and fire that up right now, I think. If I can do it under the YouTube app for both, if it'll allow me to, we'll see. All right, so, whoops. I wonder, let's see. That's terrible. Good enough. All right. All right, so we're going to be, I just started my video recorder. We're going to be going live stream here as well. I'm just going to repeat what I just said. And we are doing Italian versus Bulgarian. We bumped it up to 1,000 points. So I'm going to be, let's see, my live stream finally just cut out. That was part of the problem. For some reason on my phone, either it cut out or I pushed a button on it. Technical difficulties, I think, here.
Just don't want to run a regular recording game.
I was just hoping to kind of do a quick little shout out, but well, I'll just do the regular recording. I'll try that again later when we take a break, maybe. All right, so 2 minutes of everybody's wasted life. So we've got all I did with my list is I added the M1242 tank. I didn't bring my army list that I had printed off, but basically the points for that tank is like 180-ish, and then I jumped the lieutenant off. It perfectly matched 1,000 points, whatever it was. So the tank stat line is 8 armor. It has 2 coaxial MMGs with a light anti-tank gun. So those would have to fire at the same target if you chose to use coax. It also has 2 whole mount MMGs. When you actually look at the real model, I'm going to substitute an A7 for it because I don't have it. It looks a lot like a Panzer 38, but it has those whole mounts together in tandem. It doesn't say in the rules that they're twin, like they have to fire at the same target. But I'm going to play it that way because that's how it should be. They're basically mounted right next to each other. And I'm pretty sure that they fire at the same target. So you got 2 coax, 2 whole. Well, wait, there's more. So for 15 points, you can upgrade to a pintle-mounted anti-aircraft MMG, which, if you are familiar with the 2nd edition rules for that, if I would fire that, then the vehicle is considered open top for the remainder of the turn. So we're looking at 5 MMGs with a light anti-tank gun.
Pretty beefy there.
Pretty beefy. 8 armor. I was happy to see as opposed to a 7 armor, which like the Japanese tanks, which I have, are all 7 armor pretty much. But so same list. With I'll try to log back on. That was me. All right. So are you running something different for Bulgaria?
Yes, it's a little bit different. I wanted to try some of the dug in and entrenchment rules, since that's something that's going to come up in the campaign. So I'm still running, see, all the infantry for the Bulgarians are regular. It's kind of one of their downsides. The only thing they have that's veteran is cavalry. Mm-hmm. So I had the regular 1st lieutenant with his helpers there, And then the 2 infantry sections, which are the same as the last time, they're both regular, and they have 1 Panzer in each squad.
That's good. Okay.
And 1 LMG.
Very utilitarian squads.
Yeah, they're not bad. It's
No,
just
they're good.
you got to be careful with them being regular in what you do, though. So I did add in a forward artillery observer, and that's those guys right there.
Okay.
And instead
Oh,
of
he's even got a flare gun. That's cool.
yeah, well, he's actually a German model.
Yeah, that's cool. Looks good.
And a light mortar instead of a medium mortar.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, I do have a sniper on this list. I got to put him out.
Okay.
I didn't think I did. So yeah, I got a veteran, the medium machine gun, the sniper, and then this Skoda 3770 hybrid gun.
Right.
Are a veteran.
That one you can switch the barrels on.
Yeah, it's very kind of versatile. It's a neat little gun. So, and then I am running a Panzer 38T, and that's the Matilda is a proxy for that.
Okay,
So
I love the Panzer 38.
That is a regular armor of 8, and it has a turret-mounted light anti-tank gun, a coaxial machine gun, and a forward-facing medium machine gun. So where 155 of my points went is a bunker, and the bunkers are kind of neat. They're 50 points, and they offer you a 180-degree field of fire. And the way they work is it's a -4 to hit anybody inside the bunker. And then if you take a hit from HE, you still suffer the pin, or the pin effects, but you don't suffer any casualties.
No casualties.
No
Not
casualties,
even
but
one? Jeez.
It's all pin effects.
Okay.
They are susceptible to the assault rules, though.
Okay, so you can still close combat them,
still
and then
close
you just
combat.
ignore it after you do your firing like normal and all that.
Right. And then I have can't remember if it's a gun pit or a weapons pit. They're both the same, but they're 25 points. And anyone inside of those is treated as down. So the -2 to hit and the half HE. But if you go down, then that's doubled.
Holy shit.
So
Now, do you get hard cover and always counted as down, or is it that's the rule you
That's
get?
just the rule it is. If you're in that,
So depending on where
you're at a -2 and the half HE. That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, like down.
Right.
And if you go down well inside that, then that becomes doubled.
Okay. So but it doesn't provide any actual cover benefit other than the down order. So if you
Correct.
put this in a wheat field, would you then get an additional -1?
I would say no, because going off of how the rules work, you always take the highest one.
Okay.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
down is different than terrain, though.
Well, it's just saying as a benefit.
Is that your car?
I don't know. Stop. That was just what the rules said.
Okay, so I think since cover modifiers are different than down order, depending on let's say you have it here,
Well, basically,
and then I was firing through this. This would still affect my shooting as a -1, and then your normal down order be -3. You know what I mean? I think that would be applicable, depending on where you put it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can try that. It just says according to the fortification, and what I read is it's treated as here's the effects.
Sure, the units in there is treated as being down all the time. So if you put it in a piece of terrain, you would also get the benefit of the terrain. Yeah.
Okay.
I need a flamethrower. I don't have a flamethrower.
Yeah. And those are the 2 big pointers. And so what I did then is I took proxy by wooden fences. Is I have 4 sections of wire, and each section is 8 inches long.
Okay.
And I have 4 sections of anti-tank ditches, which is 8 inches long.
Okay.
So, and we can.
I
think it says the effects in here. Basically, barbed wire is an impassable to wheeled vehicles and artillery, a linear obstacle to infantry.
Okay,
and
so you can't
destroyed
run.
by the passage of tracked or half-tracked
Okay,
vehicles.
so you just can't run over it with infantry. You have to advance.
And the one thing about both the wire and the anti-tank ditches is if there's a prep bombardment, they are destroyed on a roll of 6.
Oh, so you actually aim at them and try to roll a 6 on it?
If you
Okay.
get a 6, it's considered destroyed. So
Okay.
that's the barbed wire, and the anti-tank ditch is basically exactly the same. But when a track vehicle must stop at the ditch to test to see if it has been constructed to sufficient depth to function as an anti-tank ditch. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, it is impassable to tracked and semi-tracked vehicles for the rest of the game. Additionally, on a 1, the testing vehicle is immobilized for the rest of the game.
Even if you hadn't gone into it, or you're
Well,
actually
it's
you're
considered-
trying to go into it
if
at
you're
that
trying to
point.
go
That's
into
when you
it. So
test.
if you roll
Okay.
4, 5, or 6, it destroys
You basically
it,
hit the
or it's
tank up
not.
against it and then go, "Roar," and you try to see if it'll.
Yeah. And it says, so yeah, if you try to drive through it on your obstacle.
What about infantry? Is it a linear obstacle for them too?
Yeah, it's basically
Same
the
as
same
the
as
same?
the wire. It counts
Okay.
as a linear obstacle.
Gotcha.
It's
Just-
impassable to wheeled vehicles and
Gotcha.
stuff like that. So,
Okay.
so that's quite a few points tied up. And then as you see, I'm only running 9 order dice.
Yeah.
Some points. So it'll be interesting just to see. A lot of this is I just want
It's gonna be interesting to what scenario we roll because that pillbox and that emplacement could be awesome, or they could be that was a waste of points.
Well, the military doctrine is fortifications are designed to either channel an opponent to somewhere that you want, or to basically to deny that area itself, to channel an opponent or an enemy.
Or conversely, fortify a position with something that would normally not be sufficient to keep somebody from going that way. So an MMG team all on its own in a wheat field might not stop 2 infantry squads from going that way. May not. But one placed in a bunker changes everything, because then it's like, God, we're not going. We can never put any pins on that thing because we got to be rolling to hit on a 7. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's roll scenario. And then, so we did change the board around a little bit, mix it up. I don't like to get too caught. We haven't rolled for sides or anything, but if you take a look at the board, got a nice little chateau there. We got a crossroads type of road, a lot of woods in the middle, a little bit of a farmland area over here. We did put some boxes across the road. Like most tournaments usually block the road up a little bit. So there'd be soft cover boxes. That would stop wheeled vehicles. Won't stop a tank. We'll use it. It's kind of similar to rules. If a tank runs it over, it's destroyed, and that way you could clear the path for your wheeled vehicles if you wanted to. All right, so let's not drop the phone on the ground. And I got the scenario book open here, so go ahead and fire away.
And roll so what is it, 2d6 or 1?
Just 1 at first, then we'll roll to see what chart we're on.
A 5.
4 more attacker defender chart, so I'll get my walls.
You get your bonus.
Yeah,
there for
so I
re-rolling,
get to re-roll. So roll a D6 again.
2.
Manhunt. Ooh. Do you want to re-roll? It would kind of take the. I don't care for manhunt.
I'm not a fan of it. 3.
Point defense.
Okay.
Let's see. I mean, it's actually fun for a quick. Like if I went to the game store, I wanted to play a quick little game. But it's that one where you set up in the middle, and then you try to just kill the HQ. So point defense. The enemy is occupying a perfect defensive position. It's your mission to push them out and send them packing. Both players roll a dice. Highest score decides whether to be the attacker or defender. Defender picks a side of the table and sets up at least half his units in the setup area. These units can use hidden setup rules. Units that are not set up to start with are left in reserve. As he sets up his force, defender must nominate 3 separate objectives in the zone. Must be 6 inches from the board edge, 24 apart. Be tactically important. So this is a scenario where the Italian special rule might help me out a lot. Because normally if you brought that army list and you rolled defender, that'd be tough. Because you could put a token right underneath that freaking pillbox, and then you have another one over there by that other defensive thing, and you could put them wherever you decided to. Like, I'm going to put it in this nice piece of terrain in the first place, or this nice cover area, or denied it. So hopefully,
When I was reading through all the rules on digging in and stuff like that, I came across something that said when you set up on the table hidden, you do have the option, if it's agreed by both players, to start the game dug in. which would basically make the same rule saying you're down, even without being down. You're always under the effect of being down.
That's in a scenario, in a campaign
that
game?
was just in the general rules.
Really?
Being dug in, yeah.
I don't think so. That's pretty powerful, because I know the Italians get a special effect where they're allowed to be in ambush if they are allowed to be hidden. So do the Japanese. If they're allowed, if they start the game under the normal rules hidden, they can also be in ambush.
I'm pretty sure.
Which I love that.
I'm pretty sure I marked that page.
Dug in. I never have been familiar with that rule set.
Because maybe it was under target. Let's see.
It'd be in setup, wouldn't it?
It's down. That's kind of what I'm advanced.
Because sometimes there's optional rules.
Yeah, I think this was an optional.
They'd be probably written in the greenish yellow section.
I thought I saw it under, like,
There's some appendix stuff back here too.
bunkers. Maybe it was back in this. Let's see. So here's the bunkers. Shooting at buildings.
Well, back in the appendix, there is a night fighting section back in the appendix too. We were talking about that earlier. Didn't talk about dug in there. I just think that would be very powerful for a unit on the defense if they're allowed to start dug in. They can already start hidden usually.
Oh no, I agree. I'm just trying to remember what book I read it in. It was something.
Probably
something about digging in.
I think that was probably in one of your Ostfront books or your Road to Berlini type books, your campaign books.
It could have been
for a particular scenario. There is one of those in one of those scenarios that Steve Boley and I played. I think that might have been a tank war one, but it does exist.
Yeah, I mean we can just go with it then.
All right, yeah, we won't use that rule today. All right, so we got to roll to see who's the attacker defender, right?
Okay,
so
one dice.
So how did the Italian rule work again? If I lose,
if you lose, we have to roll again.
then I force a reroll.
Yeah, so
2?
One.
All right.
I guess
So I'll just go ahead and be the defender without really contemplating too much, just because it will probably deny a little bit of your fortifications. And
you get to start with some too then.
I think I'll take that side of the board though, Chris. No, I get my normal Italian ones, yeah. So I'm gonna, we don't have to do a whole lot of switching until we do our deployment. Because I have to start with 6 on the board. And then after we get deployed, I'll move the rest of my stuff over.
Sure. Yeah, this is not gonna probably work out so well for me. You want your dice and stuff?
Yeah, I'll grab all that. So maybe I can try to move this thing here to a more. The problem will be the power source. I had an extension cord I may have to go grab later if this thing starts to die. Thank you. So I have to put half my, I just closed the book on that. So I have to put half my stuff on the board and then the 3 things. So I'm gonna grab my Italian fortifications. Cat dog, face. Did you bring that terrain stuff that you had last time? Those,
Yeah, actually I did. What do you need?
I'll take that sandbag one. That's pretty cool.
That was the bigger one, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I'll just hodgepodge another one together with these things.
Yeah, here's here's that.
Cool. I'll just use that. So I'll set up a little hardcover thingamabobber right there. Then I think I'll put this other one. I don't know if I want to block the road off, but it'd be kind of nice to have right here. Got a lot of fortifications already over on this corner, so maybe I'll put it. I think they have to be in the 6-inch deployment zone-ish kind of area, I'm pretty sure. Can't just go put them in wherever I want. Does it have to be up against a board edge or something?
I don't think so. Just anywhere in your deployment zone.
I just put it here. Alright, so I'm going to put my two hard cover little things there to protect my left flank. I'm going to grab 3 tokens. I actually have some nicer ones than that. Provided to me. I know I have one. These are really some nice ones that
So these are the
Historique, I believe, had made these for me. So I'll put, they have to be 24, and I'll use one of these budgeter ones. So they have to be 6 inches from the board, 24 inches apart. So that kind of. Put one there.
And this is what objectives.
Yeah.
Did you gonna want these dice or?
Now, one thing real quick, I want to make sure before these are finalized. Yeah, I'll take those.
Okay.
Put those in here for now. Let me just make sure about outflank. I'm going to check the rule on that. If it's allowed. I think it is allowed. None of your attackers are set. Attacker must try and capture 3 objectives. Defender must try and stop him. There's a prep barman on a 2-up. Attacker must move his first wave onto the table. It must be either given. So half of yours has to be in a first wave.
Rounded down.
Yeah, half of his force, just as half, so I believe round down.
Okay.
This can be the entire army if he wishes, but then, so at least half in a first wave. Then your reserves, it doesn't say outflank not allowed, so if you have something in reserve, you can put on outflank. The attacker holds 2 or 3 objectives, the attacker wins. Attacker holds 1 objective, the game is a draw. The attacker holds none, defender, it's a win. Wait, if the attacker, yeah, so all objectives have the defender start the game regardless of where it's positioned. If an objective changes hand in the game, to capture it must be a model from your infantry or artillery or transport, including one of those things, within 3 inches of the objective at the end of the turn, and there must be no enemy unit of any type within 3 inches of it. Once you capture an objective, you hold it until the enemy captures it back. This one's tough. It's tough. It's a tough game. It's a tough one. So I'm gonna just.
Yeah, I do not have the army to be doing this. I just wasted 155 points. So.
On objectives.
Obstacles.
I mean, yeah.
They're really not going to come into play.
You want to roll a different scenario?
No.
Okay. This will be a tough one. This is the one actually that at the tournaments that is nearly impossible for the defender, for the attacker to win. Especially at a Adepticon type of scenario where you're playing with some pretty good players. If you win the role for the defender, which would be maybe the one thing that benefits the freaking Italians in a tournament, would be you get a pretty good. I know they at Adepticon they modified some of the rules. So what they did is the defender has to put his entire army on the board, so it's at least subject to the prep bombardment, as opposed to what was happening. So what would happen is I put half my army on the board, and I wait till turn 4. And then once you're here, exposed, trying to capture these objectives, then I start coming in and blasting you in the face. It was really hard. So what we did was we modified it to the defender has to at least put all of his stuff on the board. 1 is subject to a prep bombardment, and 2 is subject to actually maneuvering on the board to try to counter what you decide to do. So you say you send everybody this way, and you put 2 things in outflank, so I don't know if they're coming in there or where they're coming in, and you push everything down one side. Now I'm having to react, and say you have a tank that's now providing support. At least it makes it tactical.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's
that makes
it's 6 order dice camped, 6 order dice off the board. Wait till turn 4. Now you've totally committed to where you were going, and then I start coming in and reinforce it, and the game is over.
No,
so
I mean
we'll play the modified Jeremy Williams rules.
Yeah, we'll keep going with this. I'm not.
Yeah, but I do want to play it the bolt action or Adepticon rule format way, which makes it a little at least more advantageous for the attacker. Where I have to deploy my entire army.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because so I'll deploy my entire army. The prep bombardment still comes in. I think the prep bombardment comes in automatically now, as opposed to a 2-up, which would, if you rolled a 1, like, well, I'm fucked. So I'll be subject to a prep bombardment, and which doesn't do much, honestly. Maybe
you have to roll really, really well.
Yeah, because the pins are going to be cleared by the turn 3, but you might knock out a tank or something if you get lucky. Mm-hmm. And then the goal is to pick your objective, and then you can at least try to minimize me recovering on the board, like moving my infantry squads across by doing something, or maybe your artillery barrage can help you or something like that. So
we'll go with it. Like I said, I don't have a force set up for this, but it could still be. Yeah, I'll go with it and just do.
We'll do what we can do.
Play the cards I've been dealt.
Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and deploy my entire army.
I do not like those little small machine gun squads you got though, man. They just turn out some firepower.
Yeah. They are fragile though, I tell you.
Yeah, well.
Especially what the Italians rule is I can't lose too many order dice quickly, so you have to be very cautious, because then you can end up with a -2 morale.
So you have a spotter, I don't remember.
Not the cannon. Okay. No, it's just a light howitzer.
What's that, a medium?
This is an MMG.
Okay.
I have a mortar with a spotter.
And you can deploy up to 12 inches, correct?
Yeah. No, yeah. Yes, the correct. Up to 12 inches. So I'll put the mortar, I'll just plop them back here. I'll put the spotter, well, we'd have to roll off for the spotters and the snipers, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that sniper out. Thanks for reminding me.
So mortar. there, LMG squad in that building there, LMG squad behind the building.
Are we using those as ruins or buildings?
They were building.
Well, that one was
a rebel. Okay, that one would be rebel, and this one would be a building. This one would be a building. That would be just a rebel. Sounds good. And then I got another 6-man LMG. Change this. I think I'll put the cannon over here to cover my flank. Put the MMG in here. This would still affect your firing, so at least give me somewhat clear lane. Or I can fire it indirect if I have to. And I'll put the support them with the LMG squad. And I got my 2 big blocks of.
You have a spotter sitting in the middle of the road?
We're gonna roll off.
Oh,
for the.
I was like, dang, okay.
I'm gonna start a little more central with my infantry squad. Reg squad, just rifles. I'm gonna kick these guys. 11-man reg squad with rifles. And it's Wheatfield. If you can roll really good on the prep environment and pick off like my lieutenant and the 2 vehicles with the 1 hit, then I'll be down 3 order dice. My whole army will be at -2. I'll be looking at a comedy of, I'll be at -2 morale, so I'll be looking at a comedy of disasters after that.
Yeah.
Lieutenant here. My M42. You have a light, just a vehicle with a light.
It's a
anti-tank
Yeah,
gun?
it's a light anti-tank gun, and then
So I'm gonna start off the road, kind of like that back here, so I can get on the road on the next turn, but give me the nice building protection, I think. And then my Saharina, I think I'll put it out here on the wild blue yonder, so I can. Do something with that. And then I have just a sniper, so we can roll off for the 4. Oh, I have a anti-tank rifle. I forgot about that guy. I think I'll put him right here. All right, so want to roll off for see who deploys their sniper and spotters first?
yeah, hold on, I'm just reading something here real quick. So. So we're rolling for
Just the 4 deployers.
oh,
I got a 2 again. gives you the option, but I'll go ahead and place my. You just have the one sniper, right?
You have one sniper and then the forward or the artillery observer.
Actually, losing probably is better for you, because then I have to put my stuff on first. This isn't one of those scenarios where I'd like to really be in a spot first, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of rather be more reactive. So I'll put my sniper up here in this LOL doll filled room. So I'll put him right here.
Can you go up to halfway?
Yes, up to half of the board. I can check that real quick.
Yeah, I think that's.
Let's make it over. You think I'm over there? Oh, this my tape. Yeah, it's up to half. I don't know if I'm over or not. 24 inches is right there, so I'm right.
Is that up against? Is that all the way up against the edge of the board?
No, this building?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
So that actually is a little too far. So I'll be in this window, because you do have to specify with a sniper where you're at for field of fire. So if I would move to the other window, then I would.
Being second floor like this, then line of sight is still blocked.
Correct. Trees go up indefinite.
So now I get to lay mine. You said it's halfway, so it's at 24.
Correct.
Oh wow. Probably not a good idea, but
I thought about putting my sniper over there to just protect my things, but I'm not too terribly worried. Maybe I should.
what do you over there? Anti-tank gun.
Yeah, anti-tank rifle.
Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And
LMG squad. LMG squad.
this is just a LMG squad.
Mhm.
What else do you have there?
Mortar. My lieutenant. Rifle squad or rifle platoon squad.
Oh, you still have an observer here too.
Yeah, I gotta place him after.
Oh,
so I
okay.
place one, then you place one.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna stick mine right here.
Okay. And then I'll put my mortar spotter. I'll just plug him. I'll just plug him here.
So same thing with these guys. They're forward deployers, right?
Spotters?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Correct. Your artillery barrage.
Yeah.
Those, if they come in at the right time, the right opportunity, they can be game changing. As we saw with your Soviets.
Yeah, but they got the special expanded
Jeez.
barrage, you know, and you have a few of those, you run a dual platoon, all it just mass it. I mean, it's just crazy. They're always counted as down, correct?
Hey Ray, I'm going to try this live stream again real quick. I am recording the match so we can upload it later. But we got the Italians versus Bulgarians, 1,000 points. I've added a tank to my list, represented by the A7. So what was that? They are always observers, and only spotters are counted as always being down. So mortar artillery spotters, not forward observers and snipers. It's in the spotters rule. They're not a spotter. They're a headquarters unit.
Okay.
It wouldn't help you from a sniper anyway.
Yeah.
You do get
So
to
all
put
they get
you do get to put your bunkers and stuff on.
Yeah, I know. I don't think those go forward deployed though.
Well, they go on during train setup.
Yeah, they'll go up to this 12 inch.
So you can put them down now prior to deploying your forward deployers. At least you maybe make a nice spot for one. You'll have to move your other troops up to them on your first wave, you know.
Oh.
So the Italians here, so like I said, I'm recording it. Left to right, tough scenario for Chris. I didn't even have to use my Italian reroll for point defense. So I got the objectives here, there, and then one over there. I put my light howitzer in my Italian hardcover with the LMG team. I've got my mortar spotter here. I've got an MMG team there, my Saharinia infantry squad, my 2 6-man LMG teams there. I have a sniper up in that building, and I have my M1242 or M1542, whatever, the 5 MMG beast with the 8 armor. Chris does have a Panzer 38, so I can't just run roughshod with the machine guns going nuts. And he does have his tank gun thing, which he hasn't elected, whether it's starting with HE or with the anti-tank gun, because it's not on the board yet. So it's going to be tough rub. We are using the Adepticon rules for this scenario, and instead of deploying half my stuff and bringing on the other stuff later, which was a nightmare for the attackers, I did deploy my entire army. They will be subjected to a prep bombardment, which we haven't rolled yet, but it comes in automatically. There's no 2-up. And then that's pretty much it for the modifications. What that does actually gives the attacker a chance, because then if he tries to overload one objective side to at least get a draw to push for maybe a win, I have to react on board, and he can counter that with assets maybe on the board. The way it was written in the book, in a tournament setting, I would just leave half my army off the board until I turn 4. And then once he was in his position where he's pushing to the objectives, I'd come in, counter, and shut him down. I mean, it was almost impossible. It's still a hard one for the attackers, honestly, and it's super hard because I'm the Italians, and Chris took a Bulgarian army with fortifications and spent a lot of his points on that. That's a nice spot for that, actually, because kind of makes my Saharinia, depending on what fits into it, could be really tough. It'd be nice if you had a truck with that anti-tank gun, or even a wagon, because you could run it. You could advance in with your artillery piece.
They can still do a run order.
Yeah, they only go 6 inches. Artillery pieces. They don't even run. Although I guess, I don't know. Actually, you wouldn't be able to put an artillery piece in there unless it's starting the game, because artillery.
Yeah, that's. Well, they say bunker can go full size squad or special weapons.
You could start it in there for sure. I don't know if you would be able to move into it, since it probably, because you can't move one into a building or rough ground or anything after a game starts. If that's where you even wanted your anti-tank rock gun. You have other assets.
Yeah.
You have an MMG team that would be perfect in there. They could run.
That was my thought.
Yeah.
Was to stick the MMG team in there.
Yeah, that'd be brutal. That'd be really tough in there, dude.
Yeah, see, this is hard because all you kind of have to do is just sit back for the most part and stay in cover.
Yeah, turn 1, I'll be clearing pins from the prep bombardment. Like I did tell Chris here prior to recording, if he could get really lucky with the prep bombardment and kill the 3 things that I have that are susceptible. No, I have 4 things. then I'll be down 3 order dice, and I will be suffering a -2. Unlikely, but because the sniper I deployed outside of my deployment zone, so it's not subject to prep bombardment. But the anti-tank rifle is, which if you kill one guy, obviously it forces you to check. The lieutenant is, and both vehicles are. So I still have.
This does start represent soft cover.
Soft cover, yep.
Okay. There's rubble, so it blocks line of sight. Man.
Rubble doesn't block line of sight.
Well, I mean, no, you can see all the way through it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just
you're
hard
just-
cover.
Okay, it's just hard cover.
Yeah.
So, all right.
The only thing that blocks line of sight is obviously buildings and woods, dense trees. So I don't know what anybody thinks if they're watching this about the Italian tank. I think it's pretty badass. So what I'm doing, when I looked at the pictures of it, it looks a lot like the Panzer 38, honestly. But it has coax MMGs, 2 coax MMGs, and it has 2 whole mount MMGs, but they're mounted together like tandem. So I told Chris before the game, it doesn't say it in the book, but I'm gonna limit myself to basically treating them as dual. So you have to fire at the same target. So the 2 on the hull would have to fire at the same target. The 2 coax would have to fire at the same target. And then I also did the pintle upgrade. I don't think it'll be much of an issue that where I'll be wanting to spray fire at 5 different directions, but I'll only be able to do that to 3 different directions. But a lot of firepower. I think it's a beast.
What's that?
The M42. See, I love light tanks anyway. I think they're the best value in bolt action. Like the Panzer 38, love it. The light anti-tank gun can be underwhelming, but if you take a dual platoon and you take 2, they can work together, and they can. So for 270 points, gives you a lot more versatility. If you end up having to face off against a medium or even a heavy tank, the goal isn't to kill it. It's to just keep it out of the game from destroying all your other stuff for 4 or 5 turns, you know, just harassing.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck it.
Trying to figure out what your artillery.
Yes, it's dumb shit.
Well, all you need to do is see a spot, you know, and then you can.
What spot? I
Yeah.
mean, limited assets to begin with. So this does not block line of sight, though.
No, just the woods would.
Well, I guess I could put him in it, couldn't I?
You could. Or you leave him behind it so you can run faster if you wanted to run him 12 inches on a turn or something.
Because you're still firing through it. Either way, you get the same effect.
Yeah, you just can't. It has to be a fire order to call it in. So it can't be in advance and it can't be over.
No, I mean as far as cover, it's still a
Yep,
-2.
still a -2.
Either way, whether you're in it or not.
Yeah, small team, and -2 for the cover.
All right, so that's moving forward. I'm not going to bother with any of that wire and all that stuff. 'Cause
Okay.
There's no point.
I'm not going to be going
Yeah.
that way, probably. I would say in a scenario like this, just for sake of discussion, since you don't have a deployment zone per se, I would say you'd be able to deploy it like the 4 deployers halfway up the board, I would assume. You know what I mean? Like if you were gonna.
That's all I did.
No, if you were gonna put the wire,
Oh,
I would
right,
say
right.
you could probably.
Yeah. So you start with. Okay, never mind. They wouldn't be subject to being destroyed.
My little walls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just walls.
Because they did say that trench. I'm pretty sure they said trench sections were. I mean, it's not going to come into play here. But those are
Subject to being destroyed on
by
the
prep.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll
bunkers
have
and
to
all
look
that
at
stuff.
that. Boy, that may be something I want to buy in addition to the Italian. And I'm gonna have to look at the FAQ because I'm pretty sure I can downgrade my hardcover into to 4 soft covers
Imagine if you had this force right here, and you got on the defense, and you took that tank out of play, you would have what I have plus more. You'd have 32 inches of wire to deploy, and 32 inches of anti-tank ditches.
Yeah,
And
the problem
these
is
two things.
the versatility of that point value, as we just demonstrated in you rolling to be the attacker, can be.
Oh, well, right.
Now, if you took an expensive, if I took an expensive gun or something, you know, that bunker would be something maybe I'd want to start in at the beginning, because you could still say I put a medium howitzer in it or something. That'd be a handy.
I think there's specific gun emplacements like that you can get.
Okay.
I didn't really look too close at them because some of them are specifically for guns.
Well, even that thing that you like the tank, like the weapon pit,
what I always counted.
I always counted as down. That'd be great for an anti-tank gun, where you're like, because anti-tank guns in bolt action, I don't like taking them because they're not very versatile. I like them in theory, but you have to run a specific list with maybe multiples. So if you bought something like that, and you're like, my goal of that is I'm spending a 75-point medium anti-tank gun, or even a light anti-tank gun for 50 points, plus I'm purchasing that. My goal is to put it on a flank and leave it. Set it and forget it, you know, and that's what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
That's not a bad strategy, because then you end up with at least no matter what board you walk up to, you walk up with at least one defensive arrangement.
Yeah.
And it can be mentally upsetting to people. When you put something like that and you put a gun in it, then they start to fucking focus on it, you know, which is not a bad thing sometimes. They really start spending a lot of assets trying to suppress it, even though it's really not going anywhere. It just annoys them that it won't die.
Yeah.
You put a veteran light anti-tank gun or a veteran light howitzer, and something like that, it's going to be around for a long
That's basically
time.
what I've got is this Skoda gun here. So, and that's obviously the plan where I'm going to go.
Yeah, that's a good piece
So
of
I'm gonna have
investment
a veteran.
for that, because you got the versatile barrel, and so once you're in it, then you're like, okay, now let's set up shop. So
Yeah. And so you've got a veteran unit sitting there at a -3 to hit automatically.
because it counts as always being down
It
and
counts as
soft
being
cover.
down and then soft cover.
And if you would get hit by a HE shot or a mortar would start to range in on you, you're not so worried about it, because generally you have to decide, okay, I'm going to go down here. He's on a 4-up, 50% chance. I'll go ahead and go down, and I miss. You're like, damn it. Well, you're already in it, so you'd be, well, I'm already down. So if he hits me with the mortar, it's not going to do all 3 casualties. It's going to only do 2 at the most.
Yeah.
At the most, because you round down.
And
No,
then
it
if
would
I
do
went down,
1.
I'd
It
get
would,
quarter.
no, down on top of down, it goes again. Does it? I think it just always counts as being down.
Well,
For the 2 hits.
I guess it depends on how many hits you get with it. Because if it's half, if down is half, automatically for...
Yeah, but it's just the down rule halves it, so you don't down and then down again. I don't think.
I could.
But to be hit, but I don't think it would affect the HE again.
Yeah, it does. It said that, so
okay.
So I'm considered being down, so it's a
Jeez, so
-2 to hit.
you know what? Like the Japanese can purchase a tank gun, and they can add extra crew. If I took like a 8-man crew of Japanese gun and stuck in something like that, they're fanatics. They would never die. They would never die.
So you're sitting there.
Even if 2 mortars were zoned in on them,
Yeah.
on a 2-up, I'd just take it.
So you go from 50% from the HE, and then if you did go down, you go to a quarter.
Yeah.
So what would you, maybe 1?
1 per turn,
most,
and
yeah.
Japanese are fanatics anyway.
So, yeah, the pins would make a difference.
Yeah, well, other than the shooting.
Yeah. And there's
But if I put a HE in there, as a, you know, or I'm just trying to zone range in as well, all I have to do is pass a fire order, and then I would be able to fire. And I could have -3 against me; it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, these things, I look at them on that easy arm. Because
I will buy one for my Japanese guns for sure, because I like.
Well, because you can stick them in bunkers too, and that gives you automatically the -4 to be hit, not counting cover, and then you still take pins, but you never take casualties.
Can you put a gun in there? Like
There's some of them you can. I mean,
Okay.
they have a whole list of them. And some of them are like gun pits, or I'm pretty sure I read it says
Gun
something about-
emplacements?
and gun emplacements.
Okay.
I think you can put them in bunkers. But, you know, they're pretty broad on some of the rules.
Yeah, I would imagine a bunker rule, other than a gun emplacement. If they have a rule for a gun emplacement,
Yeah, they got lots. Well, I think they put that in there because of the Normandy. So you've
Oh.
got specific
That would be
concrete,
like
you know, emplacement.
With a gun in it.
Placement with a flash thing on the top. Do you want to do prep and then take a break, or do you want to do a break now?
let's do a break. Yeah, I don't think I
This has
can.
been